Yo, your favorite YouTuber of all time, bro. See this Francis versus Tyson Fury, like it goes so much beyond boxing. Because what the sides just did is they just did a cultural nuke on American entertainment in the West entertainment, especially in the sports department. Like they dropped a cultural nuclear bomb on our ass, and it's a wrap for football, MMA, boxing, and basketball are finished in America. Finished. Let me explain to you why. So what we started to realize is, like, especially with the Jake Paul, I think Jake Paul was the first one. Well, actually, it was Connor and Floyd. And then the Jake Paul situation kind of opened our eyes a little bit more to, like, hey, well, let's play around with this stuff a little bit. And in the UFC, like Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, we start having some freak show fights. A little bit of our eyes started to get open to a window into the future. Those were like the canaries in the coal mine. The Saudis just took that shit to fucking 25 and just turned the volume up. Because what they did is people were doing those fights. So like in MMA, Dana White's always talking about we have to adhere to the rankings. We want to be a pure sport, blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't pay the bills because nobody wants to watch Dagestanians fight Brazilians all day for that they can't speak English. Nobody wants to watch that. It's not entertaining. Like, yeah, that's a great fight, and that's going to be great for the purists, which make like 10% of the market. But the other 90% of people who are watching because they just like the entertainment aspect. And so what I realized was every so often the UFC will do one of these fun, like crazy fights where they'll have like a double champ situation, like especially with Conor. They were giving Conor all the openings to basically do whatever you want because Conor didn't even defend his featherweight title. He won the featherweight title. Many went up and challenged for the lightweight championship. And then what's his name? Dos Anjos got hurt. He fought Nate Diaz. Ended up fighting Nate Diaz again. And then he went to go fight Eddie Alvarez, if I believe correctly. And that's how he got double champ status. But what we started to notice was that every so often the UFC would kind of just like cheat code and put the guy who was like the interesting star in a championship position. And all the other guys like, what the fuck, man? How's this fair? And Chael Sonnen was always speaking like, look, fuck the rankings. The rankings are not real. It's just a bunch of people hidden in a room somewhere that don't actually know what they're talking about. And they just put together some numbers and that doesn't matter. What matters is the placement of the card. The higher you are in the placement of the card, the more likely you're going to get to a championship. That's all you need to worry about. And so what we started to see is Dana doing a little bit of favoritism to keep the bills paid. And I really don't think Dana was being a bad guy when he was kind of paying these guys like a little bit like what they didn't like. Because like Francis said, I was only getting paid $500,000. And Dana's like, dude, that's all I got. This is what the pay-per-views are selling. This is what the numbers are. This is what I got. And I really think Dana was honest in that way because he's like, look, I have to have a whole other, like, you fighting keeps everybody else paid because the rest of these guys ain't drawing shit. And then Francis is like, fuck that. Like, this is just not worth it. If I got to go and do all this extra work, I want to be, like, severely, like, super compensated. And see, this is where the Saudis come in. So the Saudis got buku money. Buku money. We're talking because they got oil, natural resources, oil money that has been like for a dynasty. And so Dana White's kind of doing MMA on a low level compared to what it really could be if he had like trillions of dollars at his disposal. And that's what happened. The Saudis have trillions of dollars at their disposal and they just like to spend it. Like in the future, the Saudis are going to look back and say, dude, what the fuck? You guys wasted all the oil money on these fucking fights. Are you seriously? Yeah. But it's going to be a cultural impact because people are going to want to go to Saudi and it's going to bring a lot of intelligent people. But this is like some civilization shit that's going to happen way down the line. But the Saudis, what's so like interesting about them is that they don't mind the spectacle. They don't mind paying just to watch a spectacle for a night. It doesn't make a difference. They're not trying to make money off of it, which is what's the difference between what the Saudis are doing and what Dana White is doing. Dana White has to make money because this is a business. His business requires like a certain amount of like like revenue to gross. So if he's paying everybody fucking ridiculous amount of money and they're not making the money that they're bringing in, well, guess what? He can't afford to run business anymore. The business dies. So he kind of has to not lowball, but he has to give them the percentage that he can actually afford to give them in order to be able to run the fight. The Saudis don't have that problem. They could just spend it. Given Francis $25 million was probably the least of their expenses. How much do you think it costs to get all those celebrities out there? Because those celebrities, I guarantee, did not pay to go out there. They didn't pay to go out there. They got all their stuff accommodated. The royal people probably sent them invitations, told them, please come, bring your family, blah, 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 do all this, all this, all this. And they made all the accommodations, probably paid for everything, food, dining. They got treated very, very, very well. The boxers, the fighters, everybody. So what do you think that whole event cost? It might have been $1 billion. It really might have been $1 billion. And paying Francis might have been the lowest expense of all of it. So when you got that much of money, you can afford to just blow it on fantasy fights for the entertainment value. And what this I realize is because since they're not making money, if it's not business like profitable, it's a cultural gain. Because that's what you got to understand. When things are being done, like when grand spectacles are created, it creates a cultural like change. And that's what I just realized what happened. That's why everybody's so shocked and so lost, and boxing fans are just like, what the fuck? Like, dude, it's a wrap. Like a lot of boxing fans right now, and most of you guys that are watching, you guys are boxing fans, you guys are in disbelief and you're coping super heavy right now. You guys are making up all the excuses you can. I had motherfuckers tell me that Francis Ngannou was boxing in Cameroon and that he had to reluctantly take MMA because he couldn't do boxing in Cameroon. Bro, what? What are you talking about? Dude, Francis was in a fucking sand mine breaking down rocks all day for like 10 years. And then he had to narrowly escape to get to France. And then we got to France, he couldn't fight any fights. Nobody would let him fight. So he had to go into MMA and make like $5 and fight his way up to get to this point to go fight Tyson Fury. He had no boxing experience. And it's so insane to me because they're trying to discredit his victory, saying that he had all this experience. Bro, Tyson Fury's been fighting since he was a fucking kid. He had amateur experience, pros. He beat Klitschko. He beat the man who beat the man who beat the man. He was the lineal champion. What the fuck are you talking about? Dude, you're talking to somebody who has almost 30 wins, undefeated. He beat the guy who beat the guy. He cleared out the entire heavyweight division. And he got fucking bested by a guy who's a novice. 0-0. So boxing fans are like, they're crying themselves to sleep right now. Because right now they're looking at their whole entire thing might be a sham. And guess what? We're going to find out if boxing really is a sham. Because guess what? These Saudis got a taste of that fucking boxing shit. And they said, we like this. All the attention's on us and we can just flex. We're going to show you our cultural power, how much money we really got. We'll bring all your American stars, every fucking star that's out there. They brought everybody. All the old boxing champions. They brought all the celebrities. All the fucking fighters of today. Fighters of yesteryear. They bought everybody. Everybody. Do you know how much money it would cost to have Ronaldo show up to your fucking event? Like, really think about that. How much money do you think it would cost to have Ronaldo show up to your event? And he got that paid out for free. Travel, probably everything free. Dude, people don't understand. They dropped a cultural nuke that's going to ruin sports in America, except for like 3 sports. The only thing that's going to be actually watchable in the future, because I'm going to do a further video about the top 3 sports that they're just going to die out, like the NFL, NBA, and MMA, boxing, finished. Just fucking done. There's no more. It doesn't exist anymore. Just finished. Because the problem is they changed the rules to make it entertainment. And when you change the rules to get rid of the purest aspect of the form, we then don't have the sport anymore. We have entertainment. And if we have entertainment, guess what? We just have anything out there. It doesn't have to be like football's not football anymore. Like if you ever watched football back in the 70s and the 80s, it's not the same game as it is today. This new football is basically flag football with just like shoulder pads on. They don't even run the ball anymore. They look at the run the ball like, why are we even run the ball? A day when a running back used to get 20, 30 carries, non-existent. Running backs get maybe 10 carries. They split the load with 3 other guys, and they just pass all day. Pass. And then they can't touch the guys and the receivers. So now they're just having these ridiculous pass stat numbers. The game are higher scoring, but it's no longer football. So what you're watching is not even the same game. And that's what's going to happen to MMA and boxing. What we're going to start seeing in boxing is just pugilism fighting contests. And then it's going to be really cool once they start changing the rule, because the Saudis are going to be like, well, look, hey, actually, let's make a league out of this. We like the spectacle. Let's let the people choose what they want to watch. Let's let the people see what they want to do. So we might have like mixed competition fights where it be boxing, kickboxing, then jiu-jitsu. 3 rounds of those separate things. Let's see who wins the best if in the purest aspect. Or they might have unlimited time fights. Like, dude, we might get into some real fun entertainment shit over the next like decade because the Saudis got a taste of that and saw how big of an impact it was, and they realized, oh, dude, we can revolutionize entertainment. The Saudis might be the new sports entertainment capital of the world, and this might put the WWE out of fucking business too, because largely the WWE is ran off of storylines. But the problem is, like, all these guys in the WWE, they no longer are good at the storylines. They actually think the wrestling people watch, they care about the actual wrestling match. And so they do all these crazy flips and everything, but the storylines are horrendous, and now it's become so cookie cutter and boring that nobody really, I'm not going to say nobody really cares about wrestling, but now that we have a better alternative, like, hey, look, watch this thing that's kind of like wrestling, but it's actually legitimately real. Now people are going to be interested. People are going to be interested. And, dude, that's a wrap, brother, for MMA. And Dana White, you know what's going to happen? Dana White's going to have to do one or two things, man. Either he's going to get the UFC bought out, which I don't think anybody's going to buy that shit, or he's just going to lose all of his top stars, and all he's going to be left with is just like the Dagestanian guys and like wrestlers and Brazilian guys who can't speak English. And we're just going to have a really, really plain, like, boring. Like, it'll be a high-level MMA. It'll be very good fights. But the actual, like, interesting aspect of it will no longer be, like, fun. Nobody will really care to watch anymore. And, dude, major, like, people don't understand how big of an implication. This is going to go down in world history as, like, one of the biggest cultural shifts in sports of all time. Like, the Saudis dropped the nuke. People don't even see that. It's going to be interesting. But my next video is going to be on the top 4 sports or top 5 sports in America that are going to now flourish past the what you call it, the nuke, because now we got to get back to simple times because we don't want to watch the entertainment. Saudis killed entertainment for us.